Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Mrs. Reese, the baby teacher. We're gonna be real. This is gonna be a really not super edited video. This isn't gonna be anything crazy. My dog is probably gonna pop his head up in it at some point. This is just gonna be our chatting session. So these Let's Chats with Miss Reese are gonna be things that I've heard from other people, concerns, questions, just tips and tricks, things that I do in my classroom. This week's video is all about child-led learning. So I'm super passionate about child-led learning, and I would really like to talk to you guys about it and explain to you guys what it is, and then also how to implement child-led learning in a classroom setting when you're not expected to use child-led learning. Maybe when you've already got themes for the month and your lesson plans are already done for you. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to drink my seltzer water while I do that with you guys, and we're just going to kind of do a little chat. So let's have fun. All right. So child-led learning. What is child-led learning? Child-led learning is when the children lead the lesson. So I've actually worked for a lot of different types of childcares, and the most recent childcares that I worked with in the last 5 years, one was the lesson plans weren't done for us at all. We did our own lesson plans. We came up with our own themes monthly, and we had to have a theme monthly and that type of thing. The next one I was in was a more child-led learning. All of it was child-led learning, so we just did what the kids were interested in. It could change weekly. It could stay the same for 3 weeks and change the 4th week. We could change it in the middle of the week. Whatever our kids were into, if they were into bugs at that time, we would do bug lessons and do all sorts of sensory and art and different stuff like that just about bugs. Whatever my kids were into at that point in time is what we would do. So we did that type of lesson planning in that center. And then the center that I'm currently in, the themes are already assigned to us. And then the lesson plans are already pretty much done. And then we just kind of add our own element to them. I really love child-led learning. I don't really like when the lesson plans are already done for us. My classroom is definitely one that, if you come into it, even though the themes are already created and the lesson plans are already done, you're going to see a lot of my child-led input and things. So, for example, this week, I have All About Me. So we're doing All About Me this month in my classroom. And my kids are really, they care about themselves a lot. I mean, they love to sing their name at circle, and they love to talk about why they're so special. And I love talking about how special they are, because I love for them to have confidence and feel good about themselves. And that's one of my absolute favorite things to do, is make my kids feel good. So the All About Me lesson is really fun and really exciting, and I like it. But my kids really are into bugs right now. They don't really care about some of the stuff that we're doing in this lesson. So I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't only limiting myself to what was in the lesson plan. So the lesson plan was pretty broad. It kind of gives you like a general idea of what to do, but it also gives me a lot of wiggle room to kind of add my own stuff. I really like our lesson plans. I really like the way that they're set up. I really like that we have all these ideas we don't have to think super hard about, but I also love to be able to add my own elements in them. And the cool thing about what I'm currently doing is that there is a lot of room for me to be able to change different art projects and things like that and kind of make it so that it is more child-led. And that's what I'm going to tell you guys about today, because child-led learning can be a little bit difficult, and it can be a little bit hard to really do without getting confused sometimes. And sometimes it also seems like you'll overthink it, and then you'll be like, oh my god, I don't even know what to do. Like, what do I do if the kids are the ones leading and blah blah blah? And really, it's super easy. You guys do it every day. It's very, very simple. Okay, so let's talk about mine. So my lesson plans this month were all about me. But last week, my kids were totally into bugs. So I have this sensory and science activity in my classroom where there's like these little bugs, and there's like a ton of them. I think there's like 14 or 15 little bugs, and they're all different. So like at circle, and when we were at the table and things like that, we would actually look at the bugs, and we would talk about how unique the bugs were. So we were talking about bugs and playing with bugs, and each of the kids got to hold one of the little, each of the kids got to hold one of the, like, acrylic little capsule things that had the bug encased in it. I'm not really sure how they do it, but it's really neat. So they got to hold the little bug, and we talked about that bug. We talked about what the type of bug was. The assistant in my classroom really is great about being involved with my kids. So she was on the ground, letting them touch the bugs and talking about it and talking about how unique they were and pointing out the differences in them and seeing how some looked a little bit the same, but they didn't do the same thing. And it was very cool because my kids were so involved in it and they really, really liked it. But it wasn't just an all about me, let's talk about this child, let's talk about this child, let's talk about the color of your hair, let's talk about where you live. It wasn't just that. Of course, we do that stuff because that's part of the lesson, but it wasn't just that. We actually got to incorporate what they were interested in, and they got to lead that lesson in a way. So child-led learning is usually done where the children lead you in where you're going. So if the kids are into bugs, you'll do a bug sensory where you'll have like dirt and like toy bugs and things like that in the sensory table. And then the children will get to do that because they'll love it and they'll be interested in it. It's also where you'll do bug art projects, and maybe you're going to get nature stuff outside, so you're going to bring in leaves, and you're going to bring in dirt, and you're going to bring in sticks, and the kids are going to use those to either create art or to talk about what bugs eat or where bugs live. So it's very led by them. They get to ask questions, and then with them asking questions, you learn with the children. So child-led learning isn't just the children leading the learning, but it's also them leading you in learning more also. If you can learn with your kids, that's the best way to do child-led learning. So if my kids come up to me with these bugs, I know nothing about these bugs, I'm going to learn more about these bugs because I want to be able to teach my kids that. So we're not just limited on what we already know, we're actually going to learn more about this with the kids. So there was a booklet that came with the bugs that we had, and we would go through and we would look at the bugs, and if one of the kids were like, oh, that one has pinchers, why does it have pinchers, Miss Treese? I would be like, why does it have pinchers? It has pinchers because, and then I'd flip through the book and we'd find out why it had pinchers and what that bug's little superpowers type things were and what it was, what their pinchers were used to do, things like that. So they led that lesson, but we still connected it to what we were learning about. So that's really exciting and really fun. What else? Let's see. So we've been also learning about, being unique. And this week we're supposed to make a mural. That was a part of the lesson plan already created for me. We're supposed to make a mural with all of us together to put our unique spin and our unique touch on a mural that we all work together, so we could show how each individual person gave something to the mural, but then it all became one cohesive picture. So this week, my kids are obsessed with tape. Like, literally, they're 2 and 2.5, and they're obsessed with peeling tape off of everything. So if you are a teacher in a toddler room, you know that your pictures do not stay on your wall. Your paint on your walls usually gets chipped off because your kids are pulling things off of your wall. So not only did I want to let them lead that lesson, but I also kind of wanted to do something that would kind of get them that ability to pull things and take tape and play with the tape, but without pulling it off of my wall. So I took tape. I went on Amazon, and on Amazon you can buy a thing of painter's tape for like between $10 and $15. You can get like all sorts of different colors of painter's tape. And I did that, and with that, I tore off a bunch of pieces of the tape, and then I gave each of the children in my classroom a piece of tape, and then we put a big piece of paper down. And I actually didn't have a big piece of paper at that point in time. I kind of was winging it because I forgot to grab the butcher paper. So I actually taped together a bunch of brown paper, which is the color that we are studying this month. We're studying brown. So with us studying brown, I did brown papers. All the brown papers were taped together. I gave them tape. I let them tear the tape. I let them crumple the tape. And then they stuck it on the brown paper. And I hung it above our cubbies. And I made it so that they could see their unique artwork. But they made it out of tape. And they made it on brown paper. And it went with our theme, but also was led by something that they were interested in. So child-led learning doesn't have to take over your lessons. If you are a teacher who likes more structure and likes to have more ability to, control things a little bit more, I understand that because I'm totally for structure. I'm huge on it. I'm a big advocate for structured play, but I'm also a huge advocate for child-led learning. So yeah, get that structure in there. It's important. Kids need structure, but also don't forget to let them lead the lesson in some way. So again, if you've got to make a mural because that's what your center wants you to do, then make a mural, but maybe you can make it with something that they're interested in. So maybe your kids are really into sticks and being outside and leaves and stuff like that. Maybe you take the outdoors and you make your mural with sticks and leaves. Don't be afraid to take nature and make that a plaything in your classroom. Don't be afraid to take natural materials and bring them into your room. I'm going to do a whole video on that, but don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to take what your kids are interested in and then do what you were supposed to do. So we made art with what they were interested in. We talked about how unique they were with talking about how unique bugs were. Take what your kids are into and put it into your lesson. It doesn't have to be totally child-led. It doesn't have to be. If that's not how your center is created, if that's not how your center is, I get it. I understand. I've worked in tons of different centers. But if it is the way your center is led, you're very lucky because you get to change it as much as you can. You know all about this. If you don't, I can do some more videos on it. Just post some comments if you need some help. But don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid to put that into the lessons that are already pre-made for you. So I am in a really great center right now, which with a bunch of really wonderful, loving people, and it's a franchise center, so they have to follow certain protocols, but I do get to put my own spin on things. It doesn't have to just be what my center wants. It can also be what my center wants with a little bit of Miss Reese and then a lot of what my kids want. So don't be afraid of that. Child-led learning is amazing. It's a huge, really great way to get your kids involved. Your kids will have so much more fun when they're learning. And when children have fun when they're learning, they learn so much faster and so much more. So don't be afraid of it. If you guys have any more questions on child-led learning, this is a short video. It's not super short, but it's short enough. And you guys are more than welcome to drop them in the comments. So let me know if you guys have any more questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye. Hi, thank you for watching my video. I'm so glad that you decided to be a part of this journey with me in becoming your best self as a parent or as a teacher. Please don't forget to like and subscribe my videos so that you don't miss out on anything new. Please don't forget to share so that your friends can see our videos too and maybe become their best self too. Have a wonderful and fantastic day. Bye.